Or shot fire, officer down, shot fire, officer down. Got a city officer down, shot fire.
223, be advised, we have a visual on enemy paratroopers in grid Papa uniforms.
Welcome to the Resilient Warrior Nation, a podcast dedicated to inspiring hope and healing for first responders, military veterans, and anyone facing PTSD and trauma. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Resilient Warrior Nation. I'm your host, Mike Morgan, and we're about to enter with a great guest. I am pumped for this episode. As you guys know, this entire podcast was created to give hope and inspiration to first responders and vets who are going through it. Obviously, it's for everyone, but that is my focus. And in doing so, I bring on ordinary people who have done extraordinary things with their lives, show you guys their journeys and the healing as well, the healing journeys, to show you guys that they are exactly like you. We are you, you are us. We've all been through it. We've come out the other side, and I just want to show you guys that you are not alone. There is hope. So let me introduce you to my next guest. This is Gwen Grimes. Gwen hails from Alaska. She was the first EMT in the village of Point Hope, Alaska, then decided to become a paramedic. So she got her firefighter basic certification, began working in New Mexico, but that was too hot. Poor Gwen. She moved back to Alaska, where she worked as a firefighter / medic in Central Alaska for 15 years. She then decided she wanted to become a police officer, going to the coming from the dark side, going to the bright, and began working for the North Slope Borough PD for 12 years. Transferred to Wasilla PD before she was struck by a one-ton truck traveling 55 miles an hour while at a red light in her patrol car, causing massive damage to her shoulder and arm, and she was medically retired in 2017. She then moved to the Alaska wilderness, where she opened a retreat for wounded vets and first responders, and she also went on several Naked and Afraid challenges. She joined the Wounded Blue as a peer support advocate, traveled the world, and trying to find her purpose. And we are going to hear all about her journey and if indeed she has found a purpose. Gwen, welcome to the podcast. It's great having you on. You are my third female and my first from Alaska. So
Nice.
again, it feels like another country.
Here.
Yes, absolutely. Not many people come from Alaska with their stories, but I love this because it's such a different way of life. So
Alaska's a 100% different way of life. I've been to the lower 48 a couple times, and it's a totally different world down there.
Yeah, it is. Not necessarily a better one either. So as I told you before, the older I get, the more I want peace and quiet, and I could definitely see your attraction to this way of life. Please, let's start from the beginning, kind of tell people where you were born and raised, family background, and just to let everyone know a little bit about yourself.
Well, all right. Well, I was born and kind of raised in Oregon. Came up to Alaska as a teenager. My dad was a police officer and got hired up on the slope to work out in the remote villages. So he brought us kids out there, and that's where I started off my. They didn't have any EMTs, no medical responders absolutely out there. So they asked if I'd be interested, and I'm like, that'd be great. So they put me through EMT school in Kotzebue. I flew back out and I started becoming the medic, first responder for all calls in the village, which some were like ALS calls and they were way beyond my scope of capabilities. But I would be on the phone, like a sat phone with a doctor from one of the bigger centers, and they would walk me through things, and I was fascinated with it, thought it was super cool. So I decided to become a medic and applied for paramedic school, got that nailed, and started my adult life as a firefighter, paramedic, and loved it, and it was great. And Alaska's home, been home for most of my life, and I decided I wanted to be a cop, and went to the academy and absolutely loved it, and was going to tap my career out there, and got smoked, and here we are.
All right. Everything happens for a reason. I firmly believe that. You subscribe to that same theory? All right, good.
Yeah.
All right, good. It's funny, we were talking earlier. I'd seen you on another podcast. You were talking about interning at Grady Hospital. Those of you who are not familiar, number one, I was a cop in Atlanta for 10 plus years. Grady Hospital is a level one trauma center in the heart of Atlanta. And when I tell you guys, it is a bloodbath in that place. That is
Crazy.
still the understatement of the year. I was telling Gwen, like, I can't imagine the experience you got interning there for your paramedics. But it's just unbelievable how small the world is, number one, that I used to go there almost on a daily basis. And he would intern prior to me going there. So what'd you think when you were in Atlanta living there for 2 years, right? You said?
I did the summers there. So
Okay.
when I was, yeah, summers were my Grady experience for 2 years, and yeah, it was wild. Like it was super, it was super hot. Like
Oh, yeah.
that heat you guys have down there is unbelievable. Oh man, I couldn't even cool off in a pool.
I'm in South Florida, and people tell me, yeah, it's crazy in the summertime. Winter sounds great, but summer's insane. I'm like, Atlanta was hotter than South Florida. I'm going to tell you right now. And it doesn't, to
I
me, it doesn't
agree.
compare. That heat's insane. And
It is
humidity.
insane heat. Yeah,
Yeah.
insane heat. And I think that's what makes people get so violent down there, man.
Yeah.
It's so
Absolutely.
freaking hot. People are like short tempered because it's so hot.
Oh, there's no doubt. Those summers were insane. I remember one night in particular, shooting to shooting to shooting to shooting. Four shootings in a row. We had multiple nights when we went to three in a row. That place was just insane. And my cousin had come down to do a ride along with me on time, and he used to work in the A3 in NYPD, which is East New York, Bushwick. And it's pretty nuts there. So he comes down for a ride along and he looks at me and he's like, he's Morgan also. He's like, we call each other Morgs. He's like, Morgs, what the fuck are you doing here? I'm like, what? It's A3's not like this? He's like, dude, the A3 is nothing compared to this. So I thought it was commonplace. I thought that's where how every place was. The police, it is not. That place was insane. So, all right. So back to your journey. Even more importantly, so you're down there. So tell us, how is it? Policing, being a firefighter in these small communities where there's no one else around. Like when you go to, you start with North Slope Borough PD. How many cars are you guys turning out a night?
All right, so North Slowboro PD was a very unique department to work for. I was the only female in our department that was out in the bush.
Okay.
So once you did your first year or two in Barrow, which was the hub where they had, I think 12 officers or something on, um, for a city of 5,000 people.
Wow.
And we would get once you had enough oomph under your belt, they'd sit and they knew that you knew what you were doing. They'd send you out to one of the villages. And when you went on village rotation, you'd work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And you were the only officer out in those villages for 2 weeks at a time. No backup, zero, none.
Okay.
If you had backup coming out, it had to fly to you by bush plane, which could be days out. So you were truly on your own. So with that, being a female out in those villages, you get at first. I had the upper hand because I spent some of my teenage years out in Point Hope, which was a village out on the Chukchi Sea when I was an EMT out there, and my dad had started us off out there. And so they knew me as a kid, right?
Okay.
And so many years later, I come back as an officer. And so my welcome to Point Hope, which was one of the most violent villages on the slope,
Really?
they were all like, welcome home, welcome home, welcome back. And so I had an easier time there than some of the other guys that would go out there that would end up in fights all the time. Just really, really violent places. There's two villages up there that are more rowdy than others, and some of the other villages are slower. So based on what you wanted to do and based on your experience level and a bid process, basically what we did was every 2 years we would rebid for villages. And so you'd rotate out and you'd spend 2 years in each village. And if you wanted to extend out in a village that you were in, if you had the seniority, you could stay. So usually the quiet villages got occupied by more senior officers that didn't want to have to deal with all the drunks and shootings and all that kind of stuff going on.
Sure.
So the younger officers would end up getting stuck out in the wild, wild west, dealing with that kind of stuff. And I had one incident down in a village where we had an active shooter that I took out. And basically, since I was the only one out there, long story short, I called the fire department and said, hey, I need you guys to take your tankers. I need you to block off both ends of the street. I'm going to go in and get this guy because he was shooting and holding down a family across the street, shooting at their house. And so I took my patrol car in and bellied it up. And I know I have no backup. I'm aware of that. And this guy's like actively shooting and from his window in his house. And the interesting thing, so up in the villages, it's on the slope. And so all the houses are built up on stilts that are about 3 to 4 feet off the ground for permafrost, so they don't shift and melt. So you have like open view underneath these houses, right? But they're in an elevated position. So shooter kind of has the advantage. He's at an elevated position as you're coming in, right?
Oh yeah. Do you have a long gun at this point?
I had my AR with me.
Okay.
So, but he's in a position where I can't take him out at the window. I can't even see him. All I see is his barrel.
Right.
So I'm like pinned down behind my car, and I'm counting how many shots he's doing. And when I know he's got a rifle, and so I figure when he's emptied out, I skirt around behind and I tuck up underneath his window, his main window that he's shooting out of there. And I can hear him inside, and I can hear him reloading, and boom, 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 shoots again. Once he's done, I'm like, it is now or never, game on.
Yeah.
So I kick the door in, I come running in. He's like just standing there at the window, totally shocked that I come in blazing, right? And so I just full on like tackle him, like poof, wrap him up. We're rolling around on the ground. I get him into cuffs, pull him out, put him in my truck, grab the rifle, do all that tagging and everything, take him down to the station, call up dispatch and say, hey, I've got him in custody, send a plane out to pick him up, blah, blah, blah. Well, word travels around those villages really fast, right? So they were like, every village I went to after that, I didn't ever have any problems because the word went out that Grimes had balls of brass, don't mess with her type thing, right? So
yeah.
That worked really well in my favor. It was very John Wayne-ish to do, but it was one of those circumstances you had to do what you had to do, right? You
Hell yeah.
went and took care of business. So if you could make a name for yourself and that preceded you through the villages, then you had a pretty easy time rocking and rolling out there and being able to de-escalate. You ended up getting very, very good at, verbal judo and being able to de-escalate situations just verbally so they didn't have to get into fights.
Yeah.
Not to say I didn't have my fair share of fights out there, because I did, but things got significantly easier after that active shooter got taken out. So it was good. I mean, you just learn your lessons along the way. And then when I went, my kids were getting older. I was a single parent, so having to have 2 weeks away from them at a time and having them with a sitter and that kind of stuff, back it was getting hard. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to transfer down to Wasilla where I can be more active in my kids' lives and hop on with a city type department, right? So I get hired on Wasilla, and I get down there. I'll tell you what, man, after 12 years of doing that bush cop out there, doing your own thing, you're your own sheriff out there. I totally forgot all the time that I had backup available.
Yeah, it's got to be weird.
It was so weird, and I was getting called into the friggin' chief's office almost every day. Grimes, you need to use your backup. You're not in the villages anymore.
What were you doing that he was calling in? Like, give me an example of something that would happen.
Oh, I would just go handle calls. I had one kid that was an armed robbery suspect. He just robbed a place at gunpoint, and me and the guy that were on shift that night, we're racing to it. We get there. I'm like, hey, the guy at the convenience store that got robbed gave us a description of the vehicle. I was like, I'm pretty sure that I passed that dude coming down here, right? Jason's like, go get him. So I peel off and go back to go look for this dude, and something was telling me like, go to McDonald's, like go behind McDonald's. And so I was like listening to that inner voice. So I peel around behind there, and I'm darked out, and I come out behind, and sure as shit, there's this vehicle that matches the description. So I call on the plate, comes back as stolen, and they know me by then. They're like, wait for backup, wait for backup. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not waiting for backup. If he rolls up to that window and he's got a gun, he might take out that person at the
Yeah.
window. You know, he's sitting there ready to order food. I don't know what he's going to do. So I just approached, driver's side approach, gun at the ready, you know. So I go up there and I tap on the window, and he looks over, and I'm like, police department, what did you just do? And he's like, I robbed the place.
Spontaneous confession. I like it.
Totally, yeah. So I yard him out, and I got him hooked up and ready to go before all the other guys that are coming in. Like the entire army comes in. I already got it taken care of. And Chief pulls me in. He's like, the fuck? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, protecting people. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't need you guys to back me up. I'm good.
I love it. That's hilarious. So you're turning out of this place. It's you and one other car on the tour, or more than that?
Depend. I mean, we had interagency assist. Basically, when I got down
Okay.
into the city, you know, we had between 2 and 4 officers on every shift, and we had, you know, agencies next door to us that would respond. We had state troopers that were there. We were all like, there was a lot. If you had something
Gotcha.
going on, a lot of people were showing up, which was vastly different from nobody showing up when you're out in the villages
Yeah.
and just learning how to do that, right? Yeah, this one of my first ones, I'd first got down there and out in the villages, loose dogs are a problem, right? And probably get a lot of shit for this, but loose dogs become a problem. They attack little kids when they're walking on their way to school. So at night we would go out and we'd dispatch any loose dogs that are out and about, right?
Okay.
Public safety concern out there. So it's pretty used to just dispatching dogs, and get down to Wasilla, and I get this phone call from a citizen that was there, and he gives me this story, and he says, hey, I got this dog that keeps coming into my yard. I got chickens, and he keeps killing my chickens. He's like, what do I do? I'm like, just shoot him. And he's like, I can do that? I'm like, I don't know why you can't. He's like, eating your chickens, right? Like, just shoot him. Like, be done with it.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. So, of course, I get called into the chief's office the next morning. He's like, Grimes, did you tell a civilian to shoot a dog in city limits? I'm like, yes, sir. He's like, why? And I told him why, and he's like, you are not in the villages anymore.
Oh, we can't do that, sir?
How many times do I have to remind you? But
That's hilarious. Actually, I have a loose dog story of my own. I'm in Atlanta. I get dispatched for a loose, vicious dog. I get up on scene. It's a Roddy, big boy too. So I park my car on the street, you know, like you normally park the car, and I open the passenger side rear door, and then I open the passenger side rear driver's side door. I put food on the seat, and I go back to the passenger side, and I'm calling him over. He comes up, and I'm kind of dropping food. I'm doing a trail, and then I throw another piece in the car. So just then, this moron that I work with has to show up. He goes right. I'm about to get this dog in the car. I'm going to slam both doors. We have cage cars. I would have been fine. He goes to the front driver's side. He starts walking around the front of the car. Then he hits the passenger side front of the car. And as he's about to get in the car, the dog sees him and just goes after him. So this guy clips off 2 shots. He skips both of them, but it hits one here, 2 in the chest. This Roddy got shot with a 9mm twice. Did not cry. Didn't make a peep. He just turned around, jogged away, and we just followed the blood trail. You know, it was 2 trails from each wound. It was unbelievable. Like, I wanted to tell the dog, like, you're the hardest dog I've ever seen in my life, bro. You know, meanwhile, I'm yelling at this moron who shot him for no reason. I'm a big dog lover.
yeah, me too. It's
No reason for this guy to get shot. Yeah. I mean, you have to do what you have to do, but he didn't have to do this. That's what pissed me off. So, yeah, moron. So you have any stories of stuff that we would never think would happen, you know, in the city, or, you know, places here in the lower 48 that you would see, you know, whatever it's once or regularly, that would kind of blow our minds?
There's Bush, Alaska. I mean, like, there's all kinds of wild stories. One of the best ones, and I'm not going to mention any names just because. So I'm out in this village, right? And they have CB radios that they talk to each other amongst houses with. And
Okay.
one of the people that lived in one of the villages out there, he was notorious for going around. He was definitely like a sex offender, just a hard person to deal with. So he
Yep.
goes out and he would take people's dogs and he'd steal them in the middle of the night, and then he'd go lock them up in his Connex, and he'd fuck them in the Connex, and then chatter on the CB radios would be like, "You need to bring our dogs back, you dog fucker," blah, 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 blah. They'd start screaming at him on the CB.
Jesus.
And then they'd be calling us like, "Go get our dogs." Da, 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 da. And you're like, "Oh man, not again." Oh, seriously? So this was common knowledge, right? Every officer that went out there knew this dude and how we had to deal with him.
Yep.
So one time I'm sitting down at the station and I get a phone call from one of the aviators coming in, and he's like, "I need you to go clear the runway." And I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" He's like, "So and so's down at the end of the runway and he's fucking a dead caribou."
Holy shit.
I was like,
Not even alive?
what? What?
Oh,
So, I mean, how many times as a cop are you going to go up and be like, "Hey, I need you to stop fucking that reindeer there"? Like,
hopefully you count that many
dude.
times on one hand that you don't need two. That's insane. I'm not trying to one up you, but check this out. I had a dog fucker in my sector. Um, I forgot how he figured it out, but he ended up killing this dog. So I get a call one day from a church. It was a Korean church. Someone stole the dog of one of the members. They live right next to the church. I'm like, "Who the hell would steal a dog?" And it wasn't like, a high priced dog and someone steal a puppy and they're looking to sell them. It's just some mutt. I'm like, "Who the hell would
Mm.
steal someone's dog?" And it was in the cage, so someone, went in there and took it. It wasn't like this thing accidentally got out. So somehow we put two and two together and figure out that this dude was having sex with this dog, and then he ended up killing it. So I was able to get in touch with. We had a detective that handled animal abuse crimes, and we got a warrant for him. Got him arrested. He ended up doing like a year or two. So 2 or 3 years later, I get a call at a stable. We had horse stables in my sector, and it's an area called Dix Hills, kind of affluent area, but they had several farms where people would ride horses. So I get a call this particular day, and this lady's like, you could tell she felt very awkward talking to me. I'm like, "Man, what's going on? Just tell me." She's like, "Officer, I just can't believe it's true. But I walked into the barn the other day, and all of a sudden, this guy who shouldn't have been there walks past me very quickly. And I noticed that there was a stool next to one of the horses. And I forgot what she said the horse was doing, but it was a very weird mannerism. She's like, I just got a very weird, bad feeling about it. She goes, I walk in the barn today and he's having sex with the horse. I'm like,
Oh,
get the
gee.
hell out of here. So I go, do me a favor, can you walk over to my car? So I get in the car, I get in my MDC, I pull up the booking photo of this dude, and I turn the computer. I'm like, any chance this is him? She's like, oh my God, that's him. I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's banging horses now. She's like,
Dang.
what's going on? I'm like, I told her the story. He's having sex with dogs, and now apparently he's upped it to horses. So
He's moved on
go,
up. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I go back to the house. He lived with his dad. What a shithole he lived in. I'm like, hey, where's what's his face? So, and he gave me attitude a couple years before because he didn't believe me about the kid having sex with the dog. I'm like, guess what he's banging now? He's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, he's up the horses. We called him for that. He ended up going to prison. I think he got more than a year. So crazy story. I can't believe I was just able to follow your story with that. That shit was insane.
That's awesome.
Yeah, can't make that
Yeah.
stuff up. So,
No,
anything else that'll blow our viewers' minds, or something that they're just not used to hearing?
I got stories that can go on for days.
Oh, I can imagine.
Paranormal stories. We had one, three of us. This was down in Wasilla. Three of us on duty, graveyard shift. Get called out for an abandoned house.
Okay.
All of us were pretty new on the department and had never been down in that area before. Get dispatched down there. Possible vandalism, kids, anything like that. And, so we get down there and it's middle of the night. We're like brushing cobwebs off this trail and stuff, trying to get down there. And there's nobody down here. There's no way. There's cobwebs all over the place. It's kind of
Yep.
spooky night, whatever. So we're, shining flashlights, trying to see if we can see anything at all. And we're coming up to this house, clear the outbuildings, whatnot. And we come up to this main house, and it looks like it hasn't, like nobody's been there forever, like decades. Like it's just really abandoned.
Okay.
And all three of us are standing out front there, and we hear this female upstairs inside scream, "Help me!" Like as clear as day. This female screams, help me. And so we all look at each other and like, oh shit, right? So exigent circumstances, we kick the door in, door flies open, we're all standing there, and it's like deathly silent. Like there's nothing, right?
Okay.
And so we end up going through the house. There's like cobwebs and dust just billowed up and everything. Nobody's been in here, right? And we're like, the fuck is going on? We all heard it. We know somebody's in here.
Yeah.
Big mattress that's on the stairs going upstairs, like down the stairs there, covered, no tracks, no nothing on it. We pull it off the stairs. We go upstairs. We clear all the rooms up there, and there's nothing, literally nothing in this house. I mean, we tipped it upside down. We're like, well, shit. Let's go back to dispatch. And we're like, hey, we got to close this call out, but we don't know how to do it. Like, we don't know what to say because we just kicked this dude's door in, right? Did property damage, and I don't know who's going to believe this one, right? And she goes, well, hang on, let me look up that address again. So she looks it up. And she's like, oh shit. She goes, way before your guys' time, way back. She goes, there was a guy that lived out there, and he had kidnapped, brought him back to his house, raped and murdered several young girls in the Wasilla area. He was currently in Max prison. It was a ghost. I mean, there was no other way to tell about it. All of us got like goosebumps. We're all like, oh shit, like, right? Because
How many of you guys were there? How many?
Three of us.
Three
of us, yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, all three of us heard it. That's what tripped us all out. And it was just like, wow, okay, this is one of the things we don't talk about as long as we're still employed.
Exactly. Thank God the other two heard it, because if it was just you, you'd be like, what?
Right?
This is not good.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's crazy.
Crazy things. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happens up in Alaska. That's people go missing, and you just get some wild animal calls. Just bear attacks. We've had hikers that were supposed to report back in, and they got eaten and mauled by grizzly bears, and you go on scene and they're just like shredded, and just some crazy stuff, like stuff that you see on National Geographic.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you, it's amazing when you see stuff like that. You just realize that we're literally like pieces of roast beef. This human body, like motor vehicle fatalities and stuff that happens. Holy shit. We had one, I remember in Atlanta, this guy had a stolen crotch rocket, and he gets on an I-20, punches it, goes from the right all the way to the left lane, but he lost control and he hit the left median wall. So he starts riding the wall, and unfortunately for him, 75-85 convergence was coming in. So the median wall that had a separation kind of came together, and there was a light pole. Bam, he nails it, and his head inside the helmet ends up on the eastbound side, and the rest of his body kind of flopped down on the westbound side. It's crazy action. We had a hit and run office. I was on a motorcycle squad for a while, and their office was in ours, so every once in a while, they knew I love seeing crazy stuff. Like, Moggs, check out these pictures. So I was like, damn, man, his cabbage is in that helmet still? He's like, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy what happens in a human body, but unfortunately. All right, so let's kind of transition over to, unfortunately, your accident. Kind of tell us what happened there.
Oh, it was stupid. Like I picked up a call for one of the other officers that was there because he was busy, and I'm like, I got it. It's just a stupid animal call. I'll go grab it. So I roll out, non-emergent, right? Because it's just a stupid animal call.
Yep.
I'm in the middle of the day, and I'm slow rolling through downtown. Red light, so I stop, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like literally like over here, like typing on my MDT, trying to figure out what's going on, reading updates and whatnot. And all of a sudden, the inside of my squad car just explodes. I think I got shot because I have this like massive pain in my shoulder that just like explodes. And I'm thinking, because I can see glass like just slow-mo. Everything's in slow motion, right?
Yep.
And I hear this loud boom, feel this sharp, really sharp pain in my chest. It just like radiates. And I'm thinking for sure, like I got sniped, right? Like that was my first thought was
Yeah. Of
I
course.
got sniped. So I don't remember much about it after that happened, but from other people that were on the scene, I guess I rolled out of the vehicle and came up to my feet and started like approaching the vehicle that had hit me from behind. My car was mashed. He was in a 1-ton truck. He had been speeding through town because it's a 35, 45 mile an hour zone through there. And he was going at least what they guessed, didn't even put on his brakes, hit
Damn.
me at 55 plus,
Oof.
and just took me out. I passed out at some point. I don't remember much about it after seeing all that glass flying and whatnot.
Yep.
But basically, one of the troopers that showed up on scene was like trying to keep me down on the ground. I was like, wait till the ambulance gets here. Hold on. So they scooped me up, took me down. And basically what happened was it had ripped all the nerves out of my shoulder and like severed them. And so they, long story short, they went in, they did a full reconstruction on my entire, they took out some ribs, cleaned all this up, put my shoulder back together with dead people parts, and tried to get it back together, but they couldn't get those nerves to wire up back right. So I went through like a year of physical therapy trying to get enough, because it was my left hand and I'm left-handed. And so
Oh, really?
there goes your career. Like
Yeah.
I petitioned the department. I was like, let me go back and be a right-handed shooter. And they're like, we can't take that risk, because if you're in a exigent circumstance where you have to like make an immediate decision, you're automatically going to your left. Like you've done this for too long. There's no way you can retrain to be right. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
We're not willing to take on that risk. And so I was like, fuck. So they ended up medically retiring me. I now have a permanent disability in my dominant arm where I've lost 80% of the sensation in that arm.
Wow.
I still have movement of it. I can move it around but if I pick something up, I have to like watch what I'm doing when I pick it up to make sure that I don't drop it, because I can't feel it thing. Which makes it really difficult to shoot firearms, right? Because you can't feel the trigger, you can't manipulate any kind of jam ups or anything like that. So I understand why the medically retirement went through, but I was not ready to retire personally. I was not at all ready for that. And I had pretty much wrapped my entire life around being a cop. Like I loved it. It was absolutely who I was. And so my life was defined by that, and that got taken away in a heartbeat. Right. And so I ended up, it was really tough, because I was still in the place where, I'd gone and arrested a bunch of people or gone to a bunch of hot calls, or I could hear sirens going by my place or whatever. And it was just like constant reminder of, hey, you're not out there fighting the fight. Like you're not in it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm out. So I moved out into the middle of the wilderness, and intentionally, where there were no people, like the town that we moved up close to, in the summertime, 75 people. In the winter times, down to like 35 people, because they don't want to stick out the rough winters out there.
Okay.
Just a really small little community up on the Yukon River and way out. So the closest grocery store, when the road was open, which was May through mid-October, the road is open to get out there. It's a dirt road, 160 miles in. And it took 5 hours to get to the nearest grocery store one way. Or you can have bush planes come in, and they show up once a day, 5 days a week, weather dependent type thing. Yep. So we were just doing it. I'm like, I've always wanted to, go out and test my mettle out in the wilderness. And we built a cabin out there. We set up a homestead. We raised chickens and pigs and did a garden and hunted and fished and trapped and did the whole Alaska homesteader bushcraft, wild person thing out there. As a cop, I had never had any social media presence whatsoever. I didn't choose to do that. And
Yep.
so my boyfriend, who's now husband at the time, was active on social media, but there's no cell phone service out there, but you can go down to the local library and hop on the Wi-Fi internet down there. It was like dial-up speed, super slow. So
Wow,
once a week,
that's crazy. So what year is this now that you're talking? You guys moved there?
2017.
Okay, so just give me a timeline
Right.
now. You got injured when?
I got injured in 2014 and then battled through it till 2017 when they finally said, this isn't working. We gotta hang it up for you.
Okay,
So
and shortly thereafter is when you bailed. Okay,
yeah, well, it was literally right after because I knew it was coming. That November, December-ish, 2016, the department was like, we're going to have to transition you out. This is not getting any better, and we're concerned that you're not going to be able to qualify. Your safety is the main issue that we're worried about here. And I'm like, okay, so I knew it was coming. February 2017, they retired me, got all my stuff done with the state, and we were out in Eagle in April of 2017. So it was pretty quick. Like I'm out.
right.
I'm not going to stick around for more of this because I kept trying. I was like, I need to get back in. And it just everything that we were trying, and the department worked with me really well, trying to get me back in, and we just couldn't get my arm to work. So
Right.
it was what it was. And
how you doing mentally at this point? Into the transition of being retired and moving and stuff. How are you?
oh man, mentally I was done. I was destroyed, like bottom of the barrel, just drinking your problems away. Just it was
Yep.
bad. I was in a bad way. Like I had suicidal thoughts. I was all kinds of stuff popping off. I was just like, I'm done, like done. And
Can I ask you what
got out.
stopped you from shooting? Had the ideology. What stopped you, or what changed your thought process?
My kids.
Okay.
My kids was what was my determining. No, I'm not going to do this just yet.
All right.
I mean that I'm not
Good.
gonna, but
Yeah.
I'm not yet. Not yet. It hasn't gotten that bad yet. But the thoughts had crossed my mind, and it was just like, the fuck? I've talked people out of this stuff before. How am I here? Like, how am I
Yeah.
here now? Like, I'm the one that's usually talking people out of this shit, not the opposite way around. But on the same hand, I was too cocky, too proud to ask anyone for help.
Yep.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. No, not ever in my life would I've ever even considered asking somebody for help or told them what thoughts were going through my head.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have happened.
Well,
So
I mean, that's us as a generalization. That's us as a group. I was just talking to a special forces guy today. He echoed the same sentiments. He's like, I'm not asking for help. I was the
yeah,
same way. First of all, I didn't even know what was going on, but had I known, or when I found out, I still didn't really ask for help. I knew I needed help, and I was figuring out my way to do it, but it wasn't like I instantaneously raised my hand and said I need some help. I knew I needed it, and I was on that path. And I knew I was going to heal, just wasn't sure how to go about it at that point. But we're used to being in control and having all the answers. And it's tough when we
yeah.
don't, and we don't even know who to talk to, you know.
That's
Uh,
the problem, and that's kind of where I found out like there's not really a lot of people out here that could help. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable going to anybody because they don't understand like
yeah.
what I did, what I've been through, what I've seen, what I've all that kind of stuff. I didn't even know places like the Wounded Blue existed. Didn't even know about it. And um, out of the blue, like one of my buddies was like, he got in a shooting and took somebody out and called me up and he's like, "Hey, I really need to talk to somebody. You mind if I drive up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. Come on up." And so he came up and he came up with one of his buddies that was a Marine vet. And the two of them came up and he and I went out on the back porch and we're just like shooting the shit, talking cop shop. And it was just like he finally opened up and started talking about his feelings and how that shooting went for him and that kind of stuff. And so we just kind of talked and bonded and, sat there and just kind of doing that brother in blue thing. And then the Marine vet that came up, my husband, boyfriend at the time, was a military vet, also in the same war, was able to link up with that dude, and they did the same thing and went off and talked. And long story short, we found out that because of where we had positioned ourselves out in the middle of the wilderness immersion therapy aspect of being out there so far remote, where you didn't have cell phone service, you didn't have TV, there was no outside influences, you're literally just out there in the woods with nothing to do. So we figured out, as kind of our aha moment, like, hey, let's open this up and start inviting people to come out here so that they can attempt to heal. And if they can't, then they had a fun adventure in the wilderness, right? And so we were in the process of getting all that stuff set up, and out of the blue, because I'd been using my husband's internet stuff, his sign-ins and whatnot for logging into like medical survivalists and all this kind of stuff. Survival's always been a thing of mine.
Sure, it wasn't Pornhub, Gwen. I said, sure, it wasn't Pornhub.
No, that might have been his, but it wasn't mine. So out of the blue, we're sitting down at the library, right? And he gets this text on his device from who says that they're a producer with a casting company with Discovery Channel to do a show called Naked and Afraid. And he looks at it and he's like, I don't know what this is about. And he hands it to me and he's like, do you know? And I'm like, I have no idea, but it sounds like a scam to me. Yeah. And so I hop on there and I start talking to the gal on just by texting. I said, you know what? I said, I'm not quite buying your story. So we have a landline back at our cabin. So give us 20 minutes to get back up to the cabin. And then you give me a call on our landline and we're going to chat. And so we beeline it back up to the cabin. Sure shit, she calls. And so I start interrogating her on the phone to find out who she is, right?
Of course.
And she's, long story short, she's selling it pretty good. And she goes, you know what? I understand your hesitancy because it's this total cold call, like out of the blue. You haven't put an application.
Who's not going to be apprehensive?
Like
yep.
Right? You haven't put an application for our show or anything, but I really like what you've presented online, what your skills are, that kind of stuff. So we would really like to have you on the show. And I was like, not buying it type thing. She goes, I'm going to have EJ Snyder, who is one of our field test people that administer the test over the phone to see if you really do know your stuff. I'm going to have him call you in 3 days. He's going to give you, you'll just talk to him on the phone and we'll go from there. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I didn't know who EJ Snyder was at the time. I had no clue. So we went down to the library and they happened to have season 1 of Naked and Afraid on DVD. And so we rented it from the library and then took it home and watched it. And EJ has a very distinctive voice. And so sure shit, 3 days later, EJ calls, talks to me and like gets the whole thing done. He's like, I love it. He goes, we don't find people with your caliber very often. I want you to come down to LA. We'll get your whole casting thing set up, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you freaking serious? Like, this can't be real life, right?
Yeah.
So sure enough, like a week later, I had a ticket down to LA, flew down, did the casting. They said, if we're interested in picking you up for the show, we'll get a hold of you. And they flew me back home. And I thought, okay, cool. That was a cool little side adventure out of the bush in the middle of winter, right?
Of course.
And then they called me up and like 3 months later, they called me up and said, you ready to go? I'm like, go where? They can't tell you. Okay. And off I went. That sparked off my Naked and Afraid career there. And once that...
And where'd you go originally? Where was the first show?
The first one was in Mexico for 21 days down in Oaxaca on the coast with one partner. And he and I knocked out the 21 days, and I was able to talk a little bit about my injury and being resilient and strong and, figuring out how to stay strong, that kind of thing.
Yep.
I did it mostly to prove to myself that I wasn't broken. That was kind of if I can do this, I can do anything that I'm going to set my mind to. Yep. And then it got to okay, well, if I can do this, then other people that have been in similar circumstances or have similar mindsets can do the same thing too. So it became, if I can do this, you can do this type thing. And so that was
Yeah.
kind of my platform, getting out there. And so once that show aired, Eddie Richardson from The Wounded Blue called me up and said, "Holy shit, girl, I just saw your episode and we want you to join The Wounded Blue as a peer support advocate." And I'm like, what, I don't even know what that is. What are you talking about? And so he walked me through it. They sent me down to Oklahoma City to do training with them. And from Oklahoma City, I went from there to South Africa from a 40-day challenge. And then when I got back from South Africa on that challenge, then I started getting more involved with the Wounded Blue, being a peer support advocate, that kind of stuff.
Can you tell us about Wounded Blue?
It's a nonprofit organization that is just what we're talking about. Like if people are having suicidal thoughts, or they just can't seem to get over something that they're just ticking on their mind or whatever, all of the peer support advocates that work voluntarily for the Wounded Blue are other cops that have been in that same situation. Like you're talking to brothers and sisters in blue. You hop online, you go to their website, you put in a little thing saying what you need, and they'll get somebody on the phone with you, and you just talk. Like you just have somebody to talk to type thing. And it's people, most officers aren't aware that those helping organizations are out there. The Wounded Blue is not the only one. They're getting more popular, and there's a lot more people that are advocating for that now, because obviously it's becoming more and more apparent with all the suicides and everything that we've had in our Blue family that it's getting bad.
Yeah, it's an epidemic.
It is definitely an epidemic. And, you know, I've always been a proponent because I've been there. I mean, I've been looking down the barrel of that gun like, is it? Why stay type thing. So it's easier to me to be able to talk to others that are going through that, because you can at least kind of relate to them. You might not know everything that's going on with them, but you can kind of at least empathize with them and say, hey, I've been there. Maybe not in the same boots you are exactly, but I do know the feeling of saying I'm ready to pop smoke off this rock. I'm done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And give them some options of what options they can have. And ultimately it's their decision, but at least you try, you got to be able to get out there and give it the good old college try.
Oh, absolutely. So let me ask you, for guys and girls who are watching this who may be interested in getting involved with Wounded Blue as a volunteer, what's the process like to become certified, I assume, as a peer support specialist?
I think you just hop on there and just put, they have like a little drop-down menu. It says, I'd be interested in becoming a peer support advocate, or I need peer support help, or whatever. Like there's different options. You click on which one you want. It takes you to whoever's going to answer you on that platform. But yeah, they're pretty busy nationwide. They have a lot of people from all over the country that are just volunteering their time to be like, hey, I'm here to listen if you need somebody to listen to type thing.
Right.
And
did you have to go through a certain amount of training?
Yeah, that's why they sent me down to Oklahoma City. So they put you through, it was like, I want to say like 7 days or something like that we were down there. Okay. And you go through like CISD training. You do actual
what's CISD? We love our acronyms.
Like critical incident stress debriefing type. Okay. Like you learn how to navigate through those, how to take people through, like that have been in those situations, and you can commandeer them and lead them through the healing process in that, or the help process or whatever. They teach you how to be able to listen and be a peer advocate, like how to recognize suicidal ideations, or recognize that they might be in a financial bind and they can't ask for help for it. It's basically learning how to talk to people. Yeah. Unlike how you would talk to people as a cop on the street, you're not talking with suspects, you're talking with your fellow officers. And so it's like, you just learn, I guess, to put that tender touch on it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
You
we
know,
essentially do it. We're not only talking to purpose in our career, we're talking to good people all the time, kind of getting their
right?
stories as well. So we're used to doing it. I mean, we're part-time psychologists
Exactly.
in
And
our
they're just
jobs anyway.
enhancing on that. They're teaching you more
Exactly.
tools to be able to interact on a different level than you would as an officer with somebody
Yep.
that was talking about those kind of things. So, yeah,
And
it
then
was
how do you
good.
get matched up? In other words, say I go, what do you get a phone call from them stating that we have someone that is in need of help right now? Here's their phone number. You call them, or like how does that work
Yeah,
for
that's
you
how
as a
it works.
specialist? Okay.
Yeah, they'll say, "Hey, we got so and so that needs this kind of help. Anybody up for this one?" And people will be like, "Yeah, I got it. I'll take it." And then they pan it out that way.
Okay.
So it's pretty seamless,
Right.
easy stuff. Obviously,
Fantastic though.
everybody has lives that keeps them busy and that kind of stuff. And so you can be like, "I can't help you with that right now, but I can have so and so do it," type
Yeah.
thing. And yeah, it works out
I
really
love it.
well.
Yeah, I love it. You're not leaving these guys hanging. They need that help right then and there, and
Right.
you guys are
And
there immediately.
that's the main thing is it's an immediate response. It's not, you're not waiting like months because
Yep.
somebody's busy. You're getting an immediate response at that
Yeah,
point, which what is needed right then and there.
exactly. That's perfect. All right. So before I interrupted, you were talking about your 40-day excursion. Um, I guess naked and
Yeah,
afraid again.
I did 40 days out in South Africa,
Nice.
with a group out there. That's Naked and Afraid XL, where if you complete your 21 days, then you get to go do your 40 days, see if you can do that. Also super challenging, super eye-opening, like just figuring out if you can battle the elements and survive with nothing.
Yep.
I love
And I assume
survival.
you
I
did
like
well.
I like the mentality of what it takes to get through any of those kind of events that they put you into. The
Yep.
unknown is what's really intriguing to me because they don't tell you where you're going. It's just kind of a you show up with nothing, can you do it type thing. Um, which is kind of parallels life and all the troubles that we fall into along the way. You don't know what's
Yeah.
coming.
Exactly. There's no
No,
script.
right?
Yeah.
Unscripted. Just do your thing.
Spontaneous. Yep.
Figure it out. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a great challenge. And the thing with that is that it opened up a whole new world to me that I'd never even pictured myself being on. Was now I have like fans worldwide, right? I was in Australia of all places on a wine tasting tour, and
It's you.
these people in the bus recognized me. I'm
Really?
fucking Australia, and I'm like, are you serious?
That's great.
So so now when you're retired and people come up to your table and you're just sitting there and they're like, "Hey, I know you," it quantifies the problems because you're like,
Yeah.
did I arrest you? Did you see me naked on national TV? Did I fuck you at some point? I mean, seriously, like,
That's great. I don't know how you make it through a day. That's awesome. How is that when you first start the show? Obviously naked. It's got to be like the strangest thing when you first just walk
it
out of
was
your trail, wherever the hell you guys were, and you're just naked in front of everyone.
it was weird, but it wasn't weird. Like, I don't know, maybe for the first 5 minutes, you're just kind of like, okay, this is bizarro world that I'm in right now. And then
Yep.
you just kind of forget. Like, then you feel like you're the caveman exhibit at the Smithsonian and everybody's like circling around you watching what you're doing and commenting because they can't talk to you. So you have like all these cameramen circling around recording your every move and you're here buck ass naked in the middle of wherever trying to start a fire or fillet a fish, it's
Yep.
it's a unique experience.
Oh,
So
understatement of the year right there. So I must admit, I've never watched a show. I'm assuming that the concept is they give you challenges during the course of the show that you guys have to complete. Is it like, so it's not like the other one on Survivor?
not
Not like
not
that.
like Survivor, no.
Oh,
So
so what is the concept with
basically
this one?
uh it's two people normally, two people, man and a woman, total strangers, have never met before. are thrust into an extreme environment with no clothes, no food, no water, no shelter, figure it out, make it from point A to point B in 21 days.
Okay.
And so you pick, like, I brought a machete. John brought paracord, and the producers gave us a magnesium fire starter. And that was all we had to go out into the bush with.
Okay.
And so we had to figure out how to build shelter, how to get water, how to keep water because we didn't have a water container, how to fish, how to forage, how to do all that stuff in a environment that neither of us have ever been in before.
Right.
And so it's like, can you do it? Is it possible? Like, you're cast away and all of a sudden you have nothing left on you. You've been stripped completely bare. And now you have to make it with this complete stranger that you know nothing about.
Yep.
Nothing. And can you do it? That's the concept of the show. And it's an interesting platform. Some casts get along really well when they get put out. Others are like button heads the whole time, and it's really like dramatic.
Yeah.
It really just depends on how you vibe. I'm
Okay.
pretty chill now. I mean, now that I'm retired, I'm just like, fuck it. I don't care. Like, whatever.
Whatever. I love it. So you guys got along well, then, I assume, you and John.
We did. We're still really good friends. Such good friends, actually. So he's down in Pennsylvania. My son got married down there, and John came, and he was a photographer for my son's wedding.
Oh, nice.
And so
Clothed, I hope.
Yeah, it's just neat. It's a whole new family, kind of like how Cops have the Thin Blue Line, and Naked and Afraid has the Naked and Afraid cast family. Like, we can travel anywhere in the country, basically anywhere in the world, and you've got people that want to meet up, hang out, go hiking, camping, whatever. No questions asked. Like, they're just family. It's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like another brotherhood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yep. All right, so you get done with that celebrity, or the XL edition, and then what happens there in your life? Where are we at this point?
Basically, I got back from that, and our nonprofit was going up pretty good. Like, we were having people come out to it. We weren't getting the amount of people that we wanted to really make it worth our time to get in there, but our concept was, if we can save one, type thing.
Absolutely.
Let's just do it, right?
Yep.
So that's where we were tracking with, and we had some property that was out at the base of Denali, and I'd never been out there before. I'd bought it way back in the early 2000s and had never gone out to it. So we decided that we were going to do an expeditionary trip out. We were in Vegas at a Wounded Blue conference. We had our table set up for Wildwoods Wilderness Retreat, and we have this guy come wandering over, and he's chatting with me, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Jeremy." I'm like, "All right, cool. What's up?" And he was like, "Oh," tells me all his whole story about how he got shot. He wrote a book called My Brother's Keeper. He was working with somebody there. He now is working with Operation Enduring Warrior, working with them. But he comes over and he tells me his story, and he's like, "I'm pretty much homeless. I'm staying on my parents' couch. I would love to come up to Alaska with you guys and do this adventure that you have going out to this raw land out here." We're like, "Come on up, brother, anytime." I'm like, right? So I put the word out. Anybody that wants to come out and build cabin out here, we're going to be flown in by bush plane, dropped off on the float plane. It'll shuttle us up to the edge of the property. They're dropping us off, and we're not going to see anybody. You can't even walk out from there for the next 3 to 4 months. If you're up for that adventure, get a hold of me.
Yep.
He was the only one that contacted us. So the three of us flew out in May, of 2023, and we were out there for 106 days. We dropped dead standing. We dropped dead standing trees, peeled them out, cut them out, built a cabin, 16 by 20 cabin, and put a sod roof on it. Did it all old school, old trapper style. Jeremy was from the city, and he left there mountain man. He learned
Oh yeah,
how to mountain man in Alaska, right?
sink or swim.
And yeah, basically. And so that experience for him, from what he's told us, was a life-changing event. And that to me meant everything, because I was like, dude, if I helped you through that most critical mental rehab time of after you got shot, now you're good, like now you can take on the world, fucking fantastic, right? Like I
Oh yeah,
felt so grateful that he took us up on that offer to come out and do that with us. And so that's what we do now. Like basically we stopped running it as a nonprofit because it was just getting too expensive for us. So now we're just like, if people want to come up. Like we're getting ready to plan right now. We've been planning. We're doing a through hike of the Pacific Crest Trail, which is hiking from the Mexico border to the Canadian border via California, Oregon, Washington. It's a
wow.
2,650-mile trail. It takes 5 to 6 months to complete, and we are doing it for, we're going to call it the Hike to Heal.
Okay,
And so
nice.
basically, as my husband and I are hiking the trail, anybody that wants to hop in, they can do the whole trail if they want. But if they can't take that much time, they can hop in on segments. And so we're trying to round up, like right now, OEW, Operation Enduring Warrior, is going to be sending out some groups of people to come out to join us up at some trailheads, and they'll hike a weekend with us or something, and be able to incorporate that into mental, physical, spiritual healing as you're immersed in wilderness therapy
Right,
on the trail, along the trail. And we'll
beautiful.
just carry that message from point A to point B. And I mean, what else do we have to do? We're both retired.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's a
we're
great
on
idea.
new
It's a beautiful
something,
thing.
right? Right.
And when do you
So that's
guys
our big
plan on
push.
starting this?
That'll be April 2026. Will be
Okay,
the 5 to 6 months will be done in probably late September in
nice.
Washington.
And are you guys doing any type of fundraising for this, or looking to raise a bunch of funds for something,
Uh,
or is it more
we're
just
not
a mental?
we're not chasing money, so it's more like we just want to open it up and be like, if you want to join us and you want to come and hike your hike and have some time to sit and chat and do that thing, more power to you. Come on down. We'll have our well my one of my daughters is a media relations person, and so she's going to actually handle our account for us, and she's going to post pictures on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and be able to, anybody that wants to meet us along the way as we're going can just reach out and say, hey, I plan on meeting you up at XYZ trailhead, and we'll know to expect them, and then we'll just rendezvous and we'll go on from there. And so it's just
Great.
kind of an open invite across the
Yep.
country to any first responders or veterans that just want to hit the trail with some fellow veterans and first responders. So
That's awesome.
all it
Actually,
is.
I have to think about that myself, be honest with you. I'm going to tell my wife about that. I mean, it's such a beautiful thing. We were actually at an ayahuasca retreat last weekend, and Saturday we had some free time, and I just kind of took a chair and sat in the woods. And man, it's just something so cathartic about being out in nature, just sitting there and thinking, just watching the beauty around you. Just take that time
Well,
to
that's how I
appreciate
found
everything.
you. That's
Yeah,
how I found you, was you posted that you'd done that, and it's something that just absolutely intrigues me. I think that would be the coolest experience to be able to go and do that. And it is. It's like nature is very healing, and there's so many arts from so many generations past that we've forgotten about, like
yeah,
healers that are able to heal you without using modern medicine. And modern medicine to me is poison. And if you
yeah.
can get away from that and heal yourself traditionally by different techniques or therapies such as ayahuasca or wilderness immersion therapy, that kind of stuff, why not give it a try?
Exactly. we're brainwashed, unfortunately, by big pharma. And it's funny you say that. I was talking to a former Green Beret at one of the retreats, and he had told me that he had drunk a year previous to the one we were at. And he's like, my life changed a year ago. And he said, I was on 17 different medications from the VA, brother. He's like, this for
Holy
that,
shit.
then side effects. I put this and that. You know how it goes, one
Yeah.
after the other. And, I didn't feel anything. And he's like, I was like a robot going through life, man. It's no way to live.
Right.
And, I'll call him Larry. I'm like, Larry, you know what's crazy? There's no stigma for the VA putting you on 17 medications, or if you tell people about it, it's no stigma.
Right.
But you tell someone that you healed using ayahuasca, bro, and everyone's head fucking cocks to the left or right, and they look at you like you're out of your mind.
It's so
Especially after what
true.
you've done as a career, Green Beret soccer. You're willing to write that big check up to including your life, helping
Right.
others, you trained indigenous forces, but they'll look at you sideways because you healed using something that's been around for thousands of years. That's a
Right.
sacred medicine. They'll look at you
Exactly.
and there's a stigma attached to that. I mean, where are we? You talk about backwards as a society. It's
It is. It's
unbelievable.
totally like down the rabbit hole shit. I don't understand it. And I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to help people see something different. Like, I don't know, maybe if there's some way to use that platform of having your name out there on national circuit, being able to get people to be like, oh, I hadn't thought about that, just Grizzly Gwen does it, maybe I'll try it type
Yeah.
thing, right? Like give them that option to do so. Yeah, I'm not a fan of big pharma, never have been. I
No. No, it's amazing. It's beautiful
Nope.
because you have this platform now and you have this visibility, and it's great that you're using it for that good because there were so many of us, former first responders and vets that are going through, let alone the civilian population. Uh,
Right,
doesn't have to be just us, it's not like we have the market cornered on trauma. Just going through life. I don't know if you ever saw Rocky Balboa, but I love that speech that Sylvester Stallone gave to his son, where he said, nothing
right,
hits harder than life. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how strong you are, how good looking you are. I don't give a shit. No one can duck those punches. It's coming.
right,
And you need to feel the pain. You need to heal from the pain. You can't dull it with substances. You can't bury it. Eventually, it's coming up. And it's
right.
usually in non-healthy manners. Um, I
Or
know for me, yeah,
unexpected manners.
yeah. I know for me, I wasn't sure what was going on. I mean, I was medically retired, um, which from injury to retirement was 2 years. And I had another year of workers' comp case. So I wasn't allowed to work. I wasn't allowed to volunteer. Wasn't allowed to go to the gym. I had one built in my house, cocksuckers. So I got over lifting for 3 years. But I was a man without a purpose, and I wasn't sure about all these feelings that anger, depression. I wasn't sure where they were coming from. I'm pretty self-aware. Knew I wasn't myself. Knew I wasn't happy, but I wasn't sure of the reason until I watched Sean Ryan episode, and I'm watching Scotty Matty Penny. This is his company. It's not a proclamation of mine. Talk about Extortion 17 incident, losing his best friend in a helicopter that had gotten shot down in Afghanistan. He was crying. And simultaneously, as I'm watching him, I'm thinking about a 2-year-old found floating in a pool call I had 5 years before they had buried. And I just started crying like a baby. First time in my adult life, other than losing my dogs, that I cried like that. And I was like, man, I think I have some sort of PTSD. And right
Right,
then and there, I'm like, I am healing from this shit. There's no way I'm living with this the rest of my life. And started thinking about ways I was going to do it. Traditional counseling was not going to be mine. I'm like, there's no way I'm talking to a guy or a girl sitting behind a desk and tell them what I've done, what I've seen. They're going to be able to help me. Like, there's no way that's
right.
happening. And
Nope.
more and more, I was listening to these guys talk about healing, being broken men from war, but talking about healing with these medicines. I'm like, who the fuck am I to be pessimistic? These are some of the hardest men in the world. And they come back broken, but then they're talking about healing. And that's what started my journey. And
That's
like I
awesome.
told you, like this is my way of paying it forward. Like I bring on you, you tell your story, someone's gonna be there, maybe a female going through it right now. She's like, oh my God, this girl's talking about exactly what I was feeling. And she healed, why can't I? There's nothing extraordinary about any of us. You've done extraordinary things with your life, but you're just like anyone else, and everyone's like us. They can heal just the way you and I have.
I think the catch in that is that's a mindset where every person on this planet that has breathed life is extraordinary, and we are told that we are not. but you are, because you can heal yourself even just using your mind. Like
Yeah.
it's your body's incredibly extraordinary. People are incredibly extraordinary. Everybody has these amazing, intricate stories, and we're all tied together, all of us. Like
Yeah.
it's a network, a fabric of humanity, if you will, that will all of us. There's a reason that we cross each other's paths. There's a
Yep.
reason that we are able to talk to each other. You know, you have some random stranger out of the blue that comes up and says, "Hey, I need your help," and you're there at that right time. You may have just saved that person. Maybe they had a greater purpose down the line that they needed to be here, and that's
Yep.
why your paths came through. I'm a firm believer in that,
Me too.
and yeah, I mean, just look at how you're like,
Yeah.
oh, do you know so and so? Do you know so and so? Yeah, yeah, I know, yeah. All of our paths have crossed. All of us are on the same team trying to help others hop onto this team to get into that healing, to be able to transition from all of the atrocities that we saw as EMS, fire, police, military, any of that. We all share that trauma bond, if you
Yeah.
will.
Absolutely.
And you can't talk to other people that haven't been there. You just, and you won't. That's just a fact. So when you can find other people that have been down that road, that, you know, hear a song on the radio that happened to be the song that was playing when you found out that one of your best friends was killed in the line of duty, and all of a sudden you lose your shit 10 years later, obviously there's something there.
Oh yeah.
But you keep that box like slammed shut, those little black boxes, they're
Hmm.
all sealed shut, and it's learning how to open them up and not have that unexpected trauma pop up at the most inopportune times that people look at you like, the fuck is wrong with you, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you said something very smart. You said the mind can heal us. And that same mind that put you in that negative state can put you in that positive state. You know, I tell my wife
Absolutely.
all the time, why is it always that that voice inside your head is loud as fuck when it's negative, but when it's positive, it's almost like this whisper that you can barely hear. We need to
Yeah.
switch that up because it's the same mind that puts you in the lowest depths can ascend you to the greatest heights. It's the same, it's everything is within us. Even
You have
ayahuasca, it doesn't
incredible
heal you.
power.
It takes walls down, but everything is within us.
Yes, and you exude that power. So when you find that in yourself and you recognize that you are a powerful force in this universe that can help other people find their power, help them be strong, help them figure out how to do that for themselves, then you exude that when you go out and people just kind of come talk to you, like
Yeah.
you don't even ask for it. Like all of a sudden you have people coming up and like, hey, I felt like I needed to come talk to you. Absolutely, let's chat, right?
Yeah.
So yes, people are very powerful, and once people can embrace that and recognize that, I truly think that we could change the entire world for a better place. I know we look at it very pessimistically as police officers, because of what you're in. You're in a lifelong battle on the streets. Like that's your
Yep.
life. That's what you live. That's all you see. Your world is what you see. It's what you think. It's what you create. That is your world. I tell my kids all the time, change your thoughts, change your world.
Yeah.
Period. It's simple, simple, simple mantra. Change your thoughts, change your world. They'll be like, Mom, da 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 da. Da. I'm like, change your thoughts, change your world. Oh, hey, I started thinking about this and then this positive thing happened. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the power of positivity.
Yeah.
I didn't learn that as a cop. That's for dang sure. I
No.
learned it after I got out of law enforcement, and I discovered that there's a whole new world out there, and there's a whole new mindset and a whole new way of thinking, and not everything is so negative. It doesn't have to be. We can change it and we can make others see that there are different ways. It is up to them, though, to make those changes to themselves of whether they want to hop on that path or not.
Yeah, exactly. You can lead a horse to water. Obviously, you can't make anyone
Exactly.
drink, but anyone that needs help, raise your hand. There are people out there like Gwen, like me, that we'll help you, do anything we can to get you help. You said something very important that I like to touch on earlier. When you got struck by that car and you were medically retired, you were not ready for it, number one. But more importantly, your identity was wrapped up in your job and you kind of weren't sure who you were at that point. So what would your advice be now? You're talking to, a younger officer who's active right now. They're going through it because essentially the same thing happened to me when I got retired. It's funny. I specifically remember saying to myself, "Man, I got out unscathed," or so I thought at that point. But one of the things that came up,
Surprise.
yeah, exactly. Um, it's amazing. I realized that I wasn't ready to retire. I didn't go out on my own terms, and I had to make peace with that. And I did in my first ayahuasca ceremony, to be honest with you. It was literally, it was done after I stood up that night. It was put to bed. But what would you tell a younger officer who's going through their career right now to not make that happen to him or her, where everything's wrapped up and you don't have an identity outside of that job once you're done? So who are you now? Which leads to depression and other bad things. What would you tell them?
Well, I have told them,
What do you tell them?
find
Yeah.
find something outside of the job. Find something that is makes you creatively happy. Like, if, say, let's take hiking for instance. If you love to hike and now you become a cop and you're like, you know what? I used to love to hike, but my job all of a sudden takes precedence over the things that you loved prior to becoming what you perceive yourself to be now. Then there's an imbalance that you've created inside of yourself at that point, because you're basically killing your true self. You are a protector. That's what we were born and put on this planet for. We have the spirits and the energies to be protectors of others. That's why we're here. All of
Yeah.
us that feel that we were born to do this job, meant to do this job, we have that intense desire to help other people. That's why we do what we do. But in that, it's super easy to lose yourself. And you can't let that happen. Like, after decades of doing that kind of work, and you forget who you are, once that has become who you are and you've replaced it with a job where you're in reality just a number,
Oh, yeah.
you have to keep that balance in check. Like, if you have kids, put them first, put your family first ahead of the job. You're gonna say, no, no,
Always.
I have to go get overtime. I have to. No, you don't. No, you do not.
Yeah.
Put your family first. Go to your kids' soccer games. Go to your kids' band recitals. Do things with them. Take them out on your days off. Go out. If you don't have a family, go out and do the things you love to do. If you like, bicycling, fishing, hunting, hiking, whatever, out doing something,
Yep.
keep that alive, because it will get lost if you don't feed it.
Yeah. Great point. It's funny you just said that. I remember specifically a Christmas where the student I worked with grabs I had to work that Christmas day. He's on there and overtime. He's like, "Yeah, they called me this morning, man, double time and a half." I'm like, "Bro, you shit me? You got three kids." He's like, "Yeah,
Right?
but they understand money." I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "This is memories, man. You're never getting this back again. You fucking kidding me? For whatever, $1,200 you're working
Right?
today? What is wrong with you, man? You have priorities out of whack, brother." I mean, I was literally
Yeah.
like, "Fuck this job, man. It's
Yeah.
Christmas."
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's you just, I don't know, thump them upside the head and reality check them, because it's easy to get sucked into that. Oh, I got to work. I got to make that money. No, you don't. You
Yeah.
really don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. When it's all said and done, listen, you're never going to remember that bank account, when it was
Nope.
that high, but you're always going to remember those memories with your kids, all lack thereof when you miss them. And I'll tell you one
Right?
thing, your kids are certainly going to remember that dad wasn't there that Christmas, you know?
100% they're going to remember that one.
Yeah, yeah, don't be surprised when they hit you with an off the cuff comment, that's going to hurt you. And, about daddy not being there.
Yeah, I
Reflect
get
on
them every
that.
once in a while. I'll sit there, I I have a good relationship with my kids as a single parent, so I played mom and dad role. And I wasn't there a lot for them. I was working a lot. It consumed my life. I was always trying to make enough money to put food on the table or make sure they could play their sports that they wanted to go to. But in reality, if I hadn't have picked up the overtime and hadn't have done the things that I thought I had to do at the time to be a good parent, to be that, I missed out on their childhoods. Like I wasn't there for a lot of their stuff. I would show up to their games once I moved down to Wasilla. I would show up there to their games in uniform on duty to watch until I got a call and then I'm out
Yeah.
type thing. It was a very unbalanced life. And so knowing that I did it unbalanced, had I to do it again, I would know how, I would like to hope that I would know how to balance it better and be a more present parent for them. And the money really doesn't matter in the end because now, and they're all grown, I got grandkids now. Every single one of them has comments at times where we'll be talking on a group chat or something, and they'll be like, "Oh, you remember when da 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 da?" Yeah, mom's not going to remember that because she was at work.
Yeah.
Type thing, I'm glad they bonded as kids together, but I missed out on a whole bunch of stuff. So, yeah, dig your
Yeah.
grave.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking back now, in retrospect, is there anything now in terms of like mental health that you would do differently or change that you can remember? To give advice to kind of the younger generation that's active right now. Anything that pops into your head at all?
Don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah, that's it too.
I
It's
mean,
high school with guns, number one. Try
like
to laugh
it's
as much as possible.
exactly lighten up. It's not all that bad. Like,
Yeah.
just lighten up, have fun, enjoy life. You don't know when your ticket's getting punched.
Yep.
Live every day like it's your last and just enjoy it. Have fun with it. Be silly, do dumb things.
Yeah, exactly. And try to live that life of gratitude. I remember I was a young officer in Atlanta, and it was insane there. I mean, you didn't know if you were coming home at the end of the tour. And I remember saying, "This shit's not taking me down." And as a young officer, I remember expressly telling myself or making myself appreciate every little beautiful thing I saw, whether it was sunsets, whether it was birds, sunrise, beautiful day. I don't care if it was a garden. Like, pay attention to the life that you're living and what's around you because there is beauty. You are surrounded by beauty 24/7, and especially amidst that death and destruction, there's beauty to be seen. You just have to pay attention to that shit. Because you
Exactly.
can walk by, you can sleepwalk through your whole life. You and I have seen people do it their entire lives. They have no idea what the
Right?
hell's going on around them. But you need to pay attention, live that life of gratitude, and appreciate every little thing. And, in terms of that too, I tell people to live a life of gratitude even when it's bad shit. There's bad stuff's going to happen to you. There's a lesson in everything that we get put through. I firmly believe in that. But you
I
must
do too.
feel it. You must heal from it. You must go through it in order to appreciate it. Once you do, you come out on the other side a healthy, more resilient individual. You're capable of having healthy relationships yourself. Um, you know, never make yourself a victim. Lose that victim mentality. No,
100%.
I only have
Yeah.
bad luck. Yeah, you know, we've
No,
both seen people that have go through that life with that shit every day, man. It's all they're focused on is a negative. Like, I don't understand how you could live it like that.
I know. I don't either. To this day, I have a friend that will contact me and say, "My life is shit. My boyfriend is drunk. Blah blah blah." I'm like, "Leave. Get up and
Yeah,
fucking leave. Like,
yeah,
why are you staying? It makes no sense to me. None at all. That is a complete victim mentality." And I'll call him on it and be like, "You're playing the victim. Don't do that. Change your life. You have the power to change your life. You have the power to be able to change your entire narrative and do a system reboot
yep,
and launch on a whole new path that
exactly.
you can't even see right now because you got the blinders on, man. Like, you're not going to see anything till you rip those things off and step outside your comfort zone. So, yeah, people are interesting.
Yeah, they are. That's great advice. And I'll tell you, there's no victims, only volunteers.
Right?
You know, what you allow is what will happen.
It is. It's true. But the thing is, trying to get somebody to grasp that concept when they're in that situation is
Yeah.
next to impossible.
Yeah, it is.
And it's so nice to be able to hear a positive outcome when you have talked to somebody and it actually, some of your words stuck.
Yep.
And then you don't think about them again. And then all of a sudden, years later, they come back and they're like, oh, hey, by the way, that chat that we had back, 10 years ago, this is what happened with my life. And I'm on a really good track. And I have to appreciate that interaction that we had. Those are the moments that make being able to stay, not pop and smoke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the things that keep you here. Like, maybe I needed to be here to make a difference in somebody's life. And I do think that every person on this planet has a purpose. We all have purposes. How they play out, nobody knows.
Yep.
But we all have purposes. And once that purpose is done, then it's your time to go. And you go. So it is what it is. Finding that purpose, if whatever resonates with you at your core being, like, this is what I was meant to do that. But keep a balance.
Great advice. Great advice. Listen, it's been unbelievable talking to you. I've had a great time. So let people know how they get in touch with you. All the bios will be all the links in the bio. If they want to get in touch with you, tell them how to do it. Because you have a
my
lot
DMs
going
are
on.
always open. I got my Facebook page and Instagram page. That's my only platforms, but my DMs are always open on either one. You can always find me through Naked and Afraid. Just Google search Grizzly Gwen. You'll find me. It's not
All right.
hard to do.
And what's the just tell us the Facebook and the Insta for some of these people that can't look on the links. It's unbelievable. They can't find anything.
My Instagram is Grizzly Gwen 907, and my Facebook is just Gwen.Grimes. I think .something, but you'll see me on there.
Okay.
With an alien like fondling my boob. You can't miss my picture.
That's great. Why? I mean, not surprised that you have a picture like that. That's awesome. And then as far as Wounded Blue, is that just Wounded Blue on Insta or website if people want to find them?
That's just their general one. Yeah, just type in the Wounded Blue. I think the woundedblue.org, I think, is their website type thing.
Okay. I actually think I'm going to go on it myself and volunteer to become peer support.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Talk to Randy Sutton is the founder.
The former lieutenant, right? Las Vegas, right?
Las Vegas.
From Cops,
yes.
I remember. So,
Randy's a good dude. Just if you do reach out to him, just tell him that we chatted and I sparked you over to him and that you want to volunteer. And he should put you on the right track with that. And if you need other guys to talk to on your podcast, I've got some pretty spectacular people that have been permanently injured in the line of duty that have some incredible tales to tell and have made some spectacular, nonprofits that deal just with the type of the stuff that we're doing.
Nice. Absolutely. We'll talk offline about that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. This is what I want to do. Just inspire others. So perfect. All right, so let me hit the stop recording button. Guys, thanks again. Hit like and subscribe if you like this episode. And if you didn't, there's something wrong with you. All right, thanks again, guys.